Hi guys, I've finally gotten around to doing this question and answer thing. Sorry it's taken me so long. By now you've probably forgotten all about it anyway, I wouldn't blame you. But I've had a few things going on. I've been writing a few new tunes as well, which you can see on the channel. So I've got a few questions jotted down here. One of them was, how many hours did you play per day growing up? I wish I could remember, actually. I've forgotten so much about learning to play guitar. I only have a few memories of just being sat on the edge of my bed and doing things. I didn't have structured practice regime at all. Later on I did kind of try doing that, but it never really worked for me. I actually found the best thing was just playing. I would literally learn, well, once I learned the bar chord shape, the basic power chord shape, I would literally apply that to everything I heard. So I'd play some Iron Maiden, Guns N' Roses, stuff like Van Halen, you know, and I'd try and figure out all these songs by ear. And that's pretty much, I spent so much doing that. And I probably didn't even try lead guitar playing for a few years, probably. And then when I did, I was trying to do Yngwie, Satriani, Cacophony, things like that. I did a lot of composing myself, trying to make my own things, record my own little solo ideas and things like that, and then I learned how to do harmonies. So a lot of my practice time was spent actually making things up and trying things like that, rather than sitting down doing like 100 repetitions of a specific lick. I'm sure I had my times where I would sit down and force myself to do 8 hours because I read that that's what other people did. But generally speaking, I don't think I did it that intensively all the time. It was just whenever I had free time, I'd just sit down and play guitar. So I was always playing guitar, but it probably just wasn't so intensive as some of those guys that said they did 10 hours a day. You know, I don't think that's necessary. I think it's more important what you play rather than how many hours you do and how intense it is. Next question is from Philip. Hey Ben, first off I think you're awesome. Thank you. You're awesome too. I love every single video you've done, especially George Lynch style, solo. I've been trying to learn it for some time. But I did a video on YouTube and I need to ask you, because you're a pro, that's debatable. How do I get better tone in front of the camera? I've seen your video and actually you've got quite a good tone as it is. I think the camera picks it up pretty nicely. But I know what you mean. What you have to do is you're going to have to get some sort of external audio interface. I've got one called an Edirol UA25. They're pretty out of date now, but you can get a lot of stuff these days. Essentially what you're going to have to do is you're going to have whatever amp you use, you're going to have to run something like an XLR lead from the back of your amp through to this external audio interface, whatever you decide to buy, and then from that into some software like Cubase, Pro Tools, Reaper. There's loads of good stuff. There's too much information probably for me to give you in this video right now, and also I'm not really much of a gear person anyway. I don't know a lot. I don't keep up to date with gear, so I'm not the best person to ask. But to get a really decent guitar tone that is true to your sound, you're going to have to do something like that. As in, you're going to have to capture the sound by either an audio interface or or miking up your amp. But miking up your amp is a bit more of a pain in the butt. So if you can go straight in through an audio interface, that's the best way of doing it. Also from Philip in the same question is, also do you play video games? And if you do, what are your favourite ones, and also what are your favourite movies? Thanks a bunch, Philip. Okay, I've written a few things down here because I knew I'd forget them. Okay, for the PS1 and the PS2, I got the Silent Hill series, love them. Manhunt, Splinter Cell, Hitman, The Suffering, Resident Evil 4, Nightmare Creatures, Shadow Man, the first 3 Medal of Honor games, Shadow of Rome. They're just some of the ones that I really like. For the Xbox 360 I got Max Payne 3, Dante's Inferno, which I just finished. I love that. A lot of people hated it. I bloody loved it. The hell imagery was just brilliant. Silent Hill Homecoming, Hitman Absolution. Yeah, that's what I got for that. I was really out of date. When it comes to gaming and technology, I'm really out of date. I'm usually about 3 or 4 years behind everyone else, so I didn't get a PS2 until they've been out for years. I only got an Xbox 360 last year. And I'm catching up, so I'm going back and buying games which I never had before, so I'm really slow on that sort of stuff. But yeah, generally speaking, I like gory stuff. I like really horror kind of games, scary stuff, just real eerie, twisted stuff. That's what I like. It makes you sound weird, but movies, okay, movies. I don't really have a favourite movie, but I have a type of movie that I like. My short little list is the Bourne movies. Well, I did say Bourne with a B, not porn movies. Bourne Identity, The Bourne Supremacy, that sort of stuff. for years they were my favourites. I've seen them too many times now, and they've been on TV too much, so they're a little bit, you know, seen them all now, old hat, but they're still classic. Enter the Dragon, of course. Rocky 1 and Rocky Balboa, so that's the first Rocky and the last Rocky. The reason I like those ones so much is because you can really identify with the struggle of the character of Rocky. I think if you know what it feels like to struggle and feel like you're not getting anywhere and that the world is against you and that everyone wants to just push you down and you're really, really up against it, those films, they should resonate with you if you know what that feels like. That's why I like those films so well. I think he really portrays that brilliantly. First Blood and Rambo, so that's the first Rambo film, the last Rambo film. I've got 4 Stallone films in there. Makes me sound like such a meathead. But I love it, you know. And then for like all the sword kind of movies, I got Troy, which again, loads of people hated that. I loved it. Last Samurai, Braveheart. Then Interview with a Vampire, which is a classic film as well. Hitman, Taken, Dark Knight Rises. So I like kind of movies which really is pure escapism. The world is pretty crap enough as it is, and I like movies to take me somewhere else completely different. I'm not really into arty, making a statement type movies. I don't care about that stuff. I want movies to make you feel like you are somewhere else completely, and they've got to make you feel good about something. Whether it's about someone getting revenge or someone just beating somebody, improving themselves, something like that. That's what it's all about. Next question. Greetings. I caught a few clips of you jamming in the style of some of my favourite players. I thought you did a great job. I'm curious to know, who are some of your favourite players and which ones do you feel most difficult to play? Thanks, Michael. Michael, that's a good question. Okay, my favourite players, well, I got loads of players I really love. Like most of the people I've done videos of would be players that I really admire. But the actual favourite ones who come out in my own playing would be Marty Friedman, Michael Schenker and Joe Satriani. They're the ones to me which I think have contributed the most to the way I play, I think. Now, the most difficult guitarists to play, in terms of the lessons I've created, I would say Paul Gilbert and Michelangelo Batio. Because they are purely about alternate picking. They are like the masters of alternate picking. Whereas some of the other guys, they're great at alternate picking, but they also do loads of other stuff. But with Michael and Paul, their style is all about being amazing at picking, and I'm not really that amazing at picking. I think that I do okay at it, but I don't think I'm anywhere near what those guys can do. So when I have to try and emulate someone like Paul Gilbert or Michelangelo Batio, that's really tough, because that's not the way I play. I don't play like that. I'm not a picking kind of guy. I'm more of a legato guy. So yeah, I would put those guys as the most difficult to try and emulate. Also, when I was doing the 30 Shredders thing, doing the dime bag squeal, that was tough for me because I don't play with a whammy bar. I have a couple of guitars with the whammy bar on, but I only use them for doing lessons for Guitar Masterclass. I don't actually play with them. So again, that was something I don't do at all. And also, Dimebag's gear is set up so much that he gets the most sustain in that, and he can make these squeals sound so amazing. But with my gear, it was very tough. So again, that was one of the other things that I found very difficult to do. Next question is, how did you get Chris Poland to play for your song, Hell Kisses the Earth? Cheers. By the way, sorry if my English isn't top notch. Well, if you're using words like top notch, I think your English is pretty top notch. That's pretty good. Well, it's a secret. I'm not going to tell you, because if I had to say it, I would have to kill you. But actually, no, the truth is less sinister than that. His manager saw me playing the Chris Poland style solo that I've got on my channel. And we just got chatting and came from there, so it's really cool. I felt really honoured that he saw that and really liked what I did. So I guess it pays to kind of emulate other players, which is something I never would have thought of doing, but doing lessons for GMC means that I have to sit down and think, oh, what players do I think I have a chance of sounding like, or what players do I think I might be able to learn some of their licks of and play like, and then just go from there. Because a lot of players, people ask me, why don't you do this guy, or why don't you do that guy, or you forgot this guy, you forgot that guy. And a lot of it is, I might not feel like I can emulate that person because they have a certain sound or a certain style which is too far away from what I do. Like, there are people out there that use 8-string guitars, for example. I can't do that. Or there might be some people who I think, although they're brilliant players, they don't have a sound that is unique enough. So they do alternate picking, they do sweeping, but they don't sound like themselves. They might sound like, you know, a mixture of loads of other players. So there are loads of players who I wouldn't probably sit down and try and do a lesson of, because to me it's got to stand out, and also I've got to relate to the player and feel like I have a chance of at least sounding like them or picking out something which is unique. If I can't do that, then I'll leave that for somebody else. I've gone off track a little bit, but yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Last question is rig rundown. Okay, I'm going to keep it really nice and simple. Behind me, behind me is the trusty Marshall JBM 410H. The 410H stands for, I think, 4 channels, and H stands for head. So it's the 100 watt Marshall amp head. Literally all I do is run an XLR cable from the back of that amp into my audio interface, which is an Edirol UA-25. I don't even know if they make them anymore, but it's pretty good. It's got 2 inputs, and yeah, it goes in there into Cubase SE3 is my running program. Again, which is pretty old hat. It's 2006. It's really bare bones. It's like the most bare bones version you can imagine. So everything I do, I do it for you. Sorry, that was a bit of a random sidetrack there. Everything I do is with gear which is, apart from the Marshall, everything else is kind of like outdated and very bare. So, like I said earlier on, I'm always about 3, 4, 5 years behind everybody else in terms of technology. And by the time I get the technology, I'm like 5 years behind again. So, but I rely more on my ability to compose, I think, and write, rather than technology. But it would be nice to upgrade at some point in the future. And that's pretty much it. My guitars you see in the videos anyway, they're custom built. So a lot of people think they're Deans or Jacksons and Ibanez's. They're not. The only guitar I have, which you can buy in the shops, is a Jackson Performer, the PS4, which is the red one you see. Everything else is just custom and that. And I can't remember the specs. I'm useless for things like that. I'm just not a gearhead at all. I'm just a player. You know, I'm a dumb player. Meat and potatoes. That's me all the way through. So that's pretty much it. I just want to ask you guys some questions for the end, actually, and you can answer them in the comments section below. And it is, how did you find me? What made you first see my videos? Was it 30 Shredders? Did you find The Reckoning first and then find me, or did you see one of my style videos, and if so, which one? So I'd be really interested to know where you first saw my guitar playing. The other is, what are your other hobbies? I'd like to know what you guys are into, apart from guitar playing. So you into skydiving, I don't know, hunting, wrestling, swimming, dogging, whatever it is, just write it down below. And like you asked me, I want to know your fave movies as well. Maybe you know some good movies that I'll be into, that I've missed. You know the kind of stuff I'm into now, real pure meathead escapism stuff. I'm pretty shallow when it comes to movies. Is there anything you would like me to talk about in a future video as well? That's the final one. So if there's a subject you'd like me to cover about guitar playing, or anything you think I might be able to help you with in a future video, so please write that in there as well. You don't have to answer all of those questions. You can pick one that you want to answer, or whatever. You can answer them all. I don't care. It's totally up to you. So that's about it, really. That's all I've got to say. Apart from a big thank you again. I know I did the thank you vlog, but I'm going to say thank you again for watching and for your support. I see the same names popping up, the usernames in the comments. You know, I do recognise you guys, and it's always really cool to see the things that you say. It's been about 2 days since I released the last track I did, which was Achilles the Slayer. So that's just gone out. I'm working on another one at the moment, so hopefully that'll be up at some point, you know, maybe a few days, I don't know. I'm just going to keep on doing tracks every now and again when I can be bothered to do when I write them, and when I can get them sorted out. So yeah, I hope you like the stuff I come up with anyway, and yeah, answer the questions below in the comments section, alright? So cheers guys, take it easy, and I'll see you soon.